I've been behind the wheel my whole life. The wheels spin, miles roll by, but all that waits for me at home is a television and an empty fridge. But that night, I cursed my job. If I had known what was going to happen, I would have ditched my cargo and walked home. It was deep into the night when I drove into a thick fog bank. The road ahead was barely visible, just patches of asphalt caught in the headlights and the occasional road sign. The GPS was silent, as if it too feared this place. At first I thought I was just tired. I could hear the steady hum of my truck's engine, but the sound began pressing against my ears. It felt like it wasn't coming from under the hood, but from somewhere in the forest stretching alongside the highway. It was around 2 a.m. I started looking for a place to pull over. A couple of miles back, I had passed a sign for a roadside stop, but it must have been swallowed by the fog behind me. The mist grew denser. Even with high beams, I couldn't see more than 10 meters ahead. I had to slow to a crawl. And then, silence. The engine cut out. The dashboard went dark. The truck rolled to a stop. I cursed and switched on the emergency lights. I twisted the key in the ignition a couple of times. Nothing. Not even a flicker of life. Being stranded here in the middle of the road, without lights or signal, was the last thing I wanted. Outside, something clicked. Not loud, but clear, like a branch snapping nearby. I turned my head toward the side window. Nothing. Just the thick, white fog. And then it began. At first, it was a faint sound, a whisper. It came from deep within the forest, indistinct, garbled words. Then the voices grew louder. They overlapped, tangled together, like dozens of people speaking at once, but none of them making any sense. A cold sweat ran down my spine. It's just exhaustion, I told myself, but my fingers clenched tighter around the steering wheel. Breathing became difficult, as if the air in the cabin had thickened. The whispering turned into a wailing howl. It surrounded me. The whole forest had come alive. And it was whispering to me. "Who's there?" I shouted, hoping it was just some prank, some idiot messing around. No answer, but the branches at the edge of the road trembled. Something big was moving through the bushes. I didn't want to go outside, but curiosity and fear twisted together into something unstoppable. I opened the door and stepped onto the road. The fog swallowed me whole. I could barely see my own truck. I took a step toward the roadside, shining my phone's light into the trees. Eyes, dozens of them, sunken, motionless. But I knew they were staring right at me. "Screw this," I muttered and bolted back to the truck. I slammed the door shut, locked it, twisted the key again. The engine coughed, didn't start. The wailing outside grew louder, no longer whispers. A deep, rasping laughter. And then, the headlights flickered to life. The engine roared, relief flooded through me. But then the headlights caught something in the road. A figure stood in front of the truck. No, not a person, something else. Too tall. Pale, sunken eyes. Sharp, jagged teeth like broken glass. It tilted its head, studying me. My foot slammed the gas pedal. The truck lunged forward. The thing vanished from sight. Somewhere behind me, shrieks echoed through the night. I glanced at the side mirror. From the fog, more of them emerged. Dozens. Tall, pale, empty-eyed. They were chasing the truck, their screeches inhuman. The engine screamed. The speedometer needle slammed against its maximum. My hands gripped the wheel so tightly, I feared letting go for even a second. The fog began to thin. The headlights cut through the road ahead once more, and then a faint glow appeared in the distance, a roadside stop. I pulled into the first empty space I saw, slammed the brakes, threw the door open, but I didn't step out. The fog stayed behind me, but its icy grip on my soul refused to let go. There were a few other cars parked there. A man, around 60, with a gray beard and a worn-out jacket, stepped out of one. "You came through the fog too?" he asked. I nodded, unable to speak. Did you see them? My heart clenched. What the hell were they? I whispered. The old man sat on the step of my truck's cabin, pulled out a cigarette, and lit it. Back in '43, there was a prison camp here for POWs. They say the Germans ran experiments on them, chemicals, mutations. I stared at him, unable to believe my ears. After the war, they burned the camp down. The place was cursed. Ever since then, strange things happen here. You're not the first to see them. And now? I asked. The old man smirked, flicked his cigarette ash onto the asphalt. Now? Now you just be glad you made it out. Some never do.